Okay, so we're going to look at some colour mixing for ferns, and as you will see, it's going to be mainly green, isn't it? They are made up of different greens and earth tones as well. So we're not going to need too many bright colours really. And as you know, I'm an advocate of the limited palette for beginners. So the split primary palette is the way to go if you're new to watercolours. You've got your warm primaries and the cool primaries. Probably know that printers use the CYM, so the cyan, yellow and magenta system, and that's literally just 3 pigments and they can mix all the colours. But let's use our 6 here. I have got a couple of earth colours here, like there's a raw sienna and a burnt umber, and it's just a quick way of mixing up colours for the scales that you see. So it's not a great time of year yet here. It's still quite early for a lot of ferns to come out here, so it's quite a struggle filming and finding specimens. So hopefully you're going to have more luck because you're a bit further on in the year. This small one doesn't look particularly fern-like, again, like a few of them. This is wall rue. And you find it growing on walls and in cracks. So this one, it's got very dark coloured leaf, and these are the old leaves, so you may get nice brighter coloured greens in the new growth. This one is maidenhair spleenwort. This one's got nice fresh green leaves when they emerge. These ones have just emerged, and it's got a dark brown stem, so that's a nice one to illustrate. And look out for this one again in walls. You'll see it's quite common in walls. This one is the common polypody. Again, it grows out of walls, and it's the one that grows on other trees. So let's try and do some colour mixing for some greens. Oh, and here's a broad buckler crozier that I found. It's just emerging. And this one, I don't know if you can see the scale. It's got that dark brown streak to it. Let's see if I can pick this off. So that diagnostic of the brown streak that I said about, you'll be able to see it. I'm hoping you'll be able to see that. You can see it's got paler edges and then the dark brown centre down the middle. So that's your broad buckler fern, this one. You can see it's quite a dark green as well, starting to unfurl. And this is quite a small specimen. So let's do some colour mixing for greens. You can make all sorts of green colour charts. So I strongly recommend you devise or make a greens colour chart, colour mixing chart from using your blues and your yellows with touches of red to keep for future reference. That's if you haven't done one already before. If you've done one of my other courses like botanical illustration or mosses, then you probably will have already done a greens colour chart. So, you know, if you haven't done one, please, I do recommend you do one because it's just great reference for you. You can do things like this, all sorts of green colour mixes with your pigments that you have. Obviously, I've got way too many pigments, so yeah, that's why it's so much easier if you're a beginner to stick to a basic palette there. So at first we can assess and judge what sort of green we've got there. We've got a nice light yellowy green. So let's just see if I can mix it up now for the maidenhair spleenwort. I think we'll start with a lemon yellow because it is a yellowy green. So let's start with a bright lemon colour. We can tone it down with a bit of the other yellow perhaps as well. So we've got our yellow. And let's add some of the cool blue. You have to add your blues a little bit at a time, otherwise especially this phthalo blue, because it will destroy your mix and just turn it completely blue. So there, getting there now. That's really acid lime green, so if you want to tone down, it's quite unnatural looking really. You just add a teeny tiny touch of your warm red there, so that's a bit of vermilion. Just a touch. You can see it starts to turn it olive coloured, more natural, but I think we've gone too far there. But you see, you can keep going like this. And I think we definitely need to add a touch more blue there. Carefully. And see, it brings it back around to a closer colour match to the leaf there. Just hold it up close. And then towards the tip it gets a bit yellower, so it's nice to vary the green mix so it's not all just one colour. You know, it's nice to add variation in your colour mixes. When you've found your agreeable green mix, so for the maidenhair spleen work, write in your sketchbook, maidenhair spleen work mixed with Windsor blue green shade and lemon yellow, and then a touch of vermilion hue, but just a touch. And you can make up your own code or shorthand for your colours and your colour mixes, and jot that down with a swatch of the colour you've mixed and some variations, say the paler green for the tip and then the darker greens for the lower leaves. And then add that to your sketchbook with the sketch of the plant as well. And so this is how I go about choosing my colours and working in the sketchbook. So let's look at mixing up this really dark green for the wall rue, this one. I think you can see it's a very dark toned green, so we'll use a dark toned blue. So let's get our ultramarine there. And I think I'm going to make a purple colour initially with a bit of the permanent rose. And then I'm going to add the transparent yellow to that. And then a lot more ultramarine. Now you see we've got quite a dark green there, but it's not quite natural enough. So let's add some red. So we've got quite a dark green there now. And that's quite close. You could add a touch more yellow if you feel it needs brightening. So, yeah. So yeah, to create your dark greens, you'll use your dark blues. So indanthrum's another good blue, another dark blue. And purple is good to deepen the colour of the green. So that's why I made the purple first with French ultramarine and permanent rose, and then added the yellow to create the dark green mix. Now if you wanted a shortcut, there is a pigment that I really like called pyroline green, and this is actually a type of black, and it's pyroline green is actually a black pigment, but you can see that it's green, and look how easy it would be to get a dark green if you had this pigment there. This sort of mid green for the polypody, I'd go in with French ultramarine and transparent yellow. I mean, that's a classic green mix. That's one of my favourite green mixes there. That's with a bit too much yellow, but you just add a touch more blue to it. And you see how easy it is to moderate your greens. You can make them brighter by adding that touch more yellow. You can darken them out by adding a touch more blue. You can make them look more natural by that addition of warm red or a cool red as well. It's all worth experimenting with. You can buy green convenience colours, obviously, as well. Once you've learned how to mix all your greens, you can buy convenience greens. This is a nice sap green by Daniel Smith that I quite like. Look at there. It's a nice natural green. And you can modify green pigments by adding blue to make them darker, adding yellow to brighten them up and make them paler or brighter. Or that touch of red to make it look more natural. So I hope that's helped with the green mixing and demystified it a little bit. And then with the lovely golden scales, I mean, you can mix these colours just using these as well. But here we've got a nice raw sienna you can see. That's for the pale, your pale scales, pale edges, and we can add some burnt umber into there to create that lovely golden scale. If you wanted to mix your own brown, it's quite easy. I will show you how to mix your own brown now, just using these colours. First of all, we're going to mix, as we did with the dark green, I'm going to mix a purple. The best purples are made using warm blues and cool reds, so the opposite primary, to make the best purple. There, so we've got a lovely purple mix, and now we'll use our transparent yellow. So it's exactly the same as mixing the green, but you're just using a different proportion of yellow. So add the yellow, not too much, and you'll see we make brown. And you can adjust it to make it paler, again with more yellow. But then if I was to add more blue and yellow, it would become like the dark green, like as we mixed before. So it's just all about the different proportions of pigment that you add, and that will depend on the colour. You see, because to mix a neutral tint or a grey, you will also mix a purple using the ultramarine and the permanent rose, and then you'll add the touch of yellow, but just not as much to turn it brown. So you see, it's just different proportions. But by all means, if you have convenience earth colours and convenience greens, then by all means do use them. I'm not saying don't use them, and especially if you're not a beginner. But if you are a beginner, I would highly recommend trying to mix everything using these colours first. And then when you've got the hang of it, then bring in the other convenience colours. They are there to make our lives easier after all. So enjoy your colour mixing and make a greens colour chart if you don't have one already, and see how you get on. Bye for now.